Hi, everybody. I'm Pamela Donison, and I'm back with part two podcast interview with Stephane Calvin Rosenberg, an emerging artist in Maryland, who's also my buddy, and we commiserate on a lot of common issues for those of us working in the creative arts. So we're going to talk now. We've talked about Stephane's art in the video that you had sent out to you earlier. And now we're going to talk a little bit about books. And Stephane's a big reader and a fan of mysteries, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. So Stephane, welcome. Glad to have you back.
Thank you. So glad to be back.
Yeah, here we are. So let's talk about books.
Yes.
What's your favorite genre? I know you're a big reader. So what's your favorite genre of book?
So it so happens that I really like mystery books.
That's convenient for me.
Isn't it convenient for you?
Yes, it is.
I really, really enjoy mystery books. And I also very much enjoy fantasy / sci-fi books. These are my two go-tos. It's either, the grim reality and how to redress an injustice, or just not part of this world. It's just
right. Completely different set of rules. Yeah. And yeah. So do you have a favorite hero in fiction?
So in fiction, so favorite hero is hard. I really like, Jussi Adler-Olsen, I think that's how you pronounce it, is a Danish author who writes the Department Q series. And it's about an inspector, forgot his name. But anyway, that inspector is sort of like this greedy, uncouth, almost rude, but with a big heart inspector, and I like that guy. But my all-time favorite hero is Inspector Martin Rosenberg.
Who's that? That sounds
interesting. Sounds awfully familiar. So he's a fictional character, 100% based on my brother-in-law, who is my all-time hero because he's a third grade teacher who does awesome work in San Francisco and was actually voted Teacher of the Year a few years back by the city. But we had a riff on Facebook where he would post a picture of himself in sort of like this candy noir genre, very moody, almost desaturated colors, almost gray. And I decided to write a narrative accompanying that picture, and I dubbed him Martin Rosenberg. His name is Mark Rosenberg, but he became Martin Rosenberg. And we have a mini stories already out of Inspector Martin Rosenberg solving a crime. And the title is, I think it's Ella, the name Ella. And I have yet to work on we already have all the pictures, but I need to write the text for the second mini-series.
Oh, how fun. Yeah. So is Inspector Martin Rosenberg, he's an actual detective type inspector, or is he a school teacher?
No, he's an actual detective. He's an actual detective. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. He's a scruffy detective. So that's my hero. That's my hero.
Okay. And what kind of things are you looking for when you're looking to read a book? What grabs you? What, makes you move on and buy it or borrow it from the library or turn the page?
So, recommendations from friends count a lot. And I read the descriptions. I'm not very, very adventurous, unfortunately. I'd rather wait for the next book of the author I really like. I need a book to grab me very quickly in the story. Otherwise, I fall asleep and I don't finish it. And so
And
I
there's so many other things that we can spend our time on, right?
right,
So if it's not
yeah.
compelling.
I had that happen to me recently. I read In the Presence of the Enemy by Elizabeth George, another great name of
Mhm.
thriller and mystery books. And it was hard at the beginning. It starts very slowly, and I almost gave up. And I thought, well, it's an Elizabeth George book. I know she's a great writer, and I know I will be sucked in the story at some point. And I stuck with it, and of course I got sucked in, and I couldn't put the book down. But I guess my brain is a little bit lazy, so I need to be engaged very quickly in the story. Otherwise, I give up, which is not very good.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of feel the same way. It's almost like if the writer didn't spend enough time editing and honing their story, I'm certainly not going to do that for them in my mind. You
Yeah.
know, like there's so many great books
Yeah.
that and it doesn't mean the book's not great. It just means it's not great for me, right?
Right,
So
exactly.
some things just won't make me turn that page.
Mhm.
Um, so besides Elizabeth George, and you mentioned another person, give me some of your other favorite authors.
So Elizabeth George and Jussi Adler-Olsen for mystery books. Octavia Butler for sci-fi.
Oh yeah,
You can't. Yeah, enough said. If you don't know
right,
Octavia Butler, just
right,
Google her, and you'll
right.
be mind blown.
If we could have Octavia Butler and Ursula Le Guin in the same room, my head
Yeah,
would explode.
yeah, exactly. N.K. Jemisin for sci-fi, for fantasy. I also love N.K. Jemisin's personal story. I think she was a school counselor, and who just loved to write, and she just pursued her passion and is now this acclaimed author. I think that's awesome. And her books she just transports you into different worlds,
Right.
and you're there. It's just amazing. Um, I also, but I haven't read him in a long, long time. But when I was a teen and a young adult, I really, really was taken by um, Andre Brink's work. And Andre Brink was a white South African author who wrote many, many books. Um, and they're vivid fictions, and I want to say they're certainly based on his experience in South Africa. So I can't
Sure.
say partially autobiographical, but they're definitely based on the real South Africa and its experience under apartheid. And his books are really, really wonderful. So I have him in my list of favorite authors, even though I haven't read him in a long time. And
And
that's it. I mean, there's other authors or other books that I really enjoy
sure.
and appreciate, but my right now at this point in my life, N.K. Jemisin and Juicy the Juicy are really, really, really what I'm about.
And most recently, what have you read? Fiction. What have you read most recently?
So fiction, I've just finished In the Presence of the Enemy by Elizabeth George. I have her next book on my bedside table that I'm going to pick up soon, and that's Deception on His Mind. And then that should bring me to Christmas time, where I intend to read the latest N.K. Jemisin, which should be out like in paperback, I hope by then. Um, and I also want to read the Viola Davis memoir.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I want to read the Viola Davis, and I want to read the Trevor Noah memoir. I heard
Right.
both are super interesting.
Yeah, I've heard. I follow Viola on Instagram. I
Yeah,
adore her, and I've heard really good things about her
yeah,
memoir. So that's an interesting one.
yeah. And once in a while, I pick up a memoir or a biography, and I enjoy them. I think the last one I read was Michelle Obama's. I think I had bought both of the Clintons when they each released their
Mhm.
own, and I don't think I finished Hillary's. Sorry. Um, but yeah, Viola. So I have a few books coming up, and of course, perhaps in that holiday season, I might be reading the next Camellia Beaumont adventure, or maybe not, but I know it will be on my list of next books when it's available. So you should tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, a lot of people would like to know where book 2 is. And so I'm happy to give you an update. What many of the people listening won't know is that in August, I moved house, and in October, I had COVID. So both of those events stripped me of 2 months of my life, just gone. And the move actually may have been more like 2 months on its own.
Yeah.
And COVID almost was. It took me a long time to recover. And so I'm right back in the thick of things, and I'm about halfway through my edits on book 2, and I still have some writing to do. So in the process, and I'll back up for a second. Book 1, I wrote as a pantser, meaning by the seat of your pants, right? You're a pantser, meaning you don't outline, you don't plot, you just write. So book 1, I did that way, and I'll never do it again. It was horrible. It took me forever to cull out the chaff from the wheat. And I think the effect of that was that I came to appreciate plotting so much more, because I cut almost 60,000 words from that first manuscript.
Wow.
Yeah, which is almost a whole book by itself. So
Yeah.
I don't ever want to do that again. So book 2, I outlined, and I thought I did a pretty good job, but then, that's why we have critique partners. So my critique partners have pointed out that there are some loose ends and maybe some plot holes that need to be addressed. And so that has resulted in me needing to write a few more chapters, which is not a problem, because I have my waypoint, right? I know where I'm headed. So that's book 2. And I had hoped that it would be out now, actually, but it's not. And so I'm going away for the winter, escaping the frigid temperatures of Calgary, Alberta, which actually I love winter. I like snowshoeing, I like skating, I like hiking in the snow. My husband, not so much. He kind of gets anxious if he can't wear shorts, pretty much every day. So we're going away for the winter. And what that means is that the launch of book 2 will be postponed until April, when I return. But we're going to Spain. And so one of the missions for Spain is to research book 3.
Yay!
So some people will remember that in book 1, Camellia Belmont's husband, Leon, has started his own cybersecurity firm. He's a consultant, and they're going to take off to Spain at the end of book 2 for Leon's work. He's going there on an assignment, and Camellia is going to come along for a couple of weeks because she needs a break. Yeah. So that's going to lead me into my next 3 months. We're leaving January 5th. The next 3 months will be research for that third novel.
Awesome.
Yes. And I'll be sharing a lot of on the street type pictures and that sort of thing of places that I'm researching for this novel. So, but thank you for asking. And I appreciate the prompting to get that second one done. It's, if I could just lock the door and just stay here in my tower, it would be done. But, life goes on, and I'm still working part-time. So I'm going to give myself a little bit of a break there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you should.
We're creators, and part of what that requires is an environment of forgiveness, acceptance, and that sort of thing, because punishment really doesn't inspire me very much.
Oh, absolutely not.
So if I'm beating myself up, I'm not getting much done.
Mm-hmm.
But now back to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to write a book, what would the title be?
If I were to write a book, the title would be In the Gray of the Night. And the reason is I started to write a book a few years ago. I think I have 3/4 of one page.
Okay, that's a start.
That's a start. And the title came to me and I said, well, this is going to be In the Gray of the Night. So that's my title.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what would that story be about? Just a basic overview.
Like my now 14-year-old told us when he was about 3, he said, I can tell you it's a secret.
Okay, that's fair.
It's a women taking over the world book.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds like a great idea and
Yeah.
probably speculative, since clearly we're not there yet.
Clearly we've gone backwards actually.
Yeah. Few
But yeah,
steps backwards.
I think a lot of women have fantasized about that.
Margaret Atwood has a few words.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
So what's on your event horizon? What are you working on in your studio right now?
So I am so actually at this moment I am not working on anything. I've just completed a series of 5 that I'm letting breathe. I want to add, but I haven't completed it. I want to add 3 more pieces to that series, but I'm taking a break. I've been doing live figure drawing with the class, and so that's what I've been doing, just to refine my craft with the figure, because it's, let's just say that hand and feet are not easy to draw.
No, they're not.
And but I have plans for next year. We're mid-December, so I don't expect to be doing a lot of real pieces. I'm going to do those 3 pieces to finish that series that I mentioned. I had studied a series of 6. We had talked about it a few months ago, and I put it aside because it's just not gelling the way I want to. So I might revisit them. And then for next year, I want to develop a full portfolio for my patterns, and I have a couple of large scale paintings that I want to do.
Wow.
Yeah. So
lots on your plate, Stephane.
Yeah.
And that's while raising 2 teenage boys.
Yes, with one going to college next year, which means what I've done in the past 6 months is being a full-time college counselor with those freaking, pardon my French, college applications, which are ridiculous.
They're horrible.
It's ridiculous. I've never ever been through such grinder of doing college applications with my kids. I just don't believe it. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm not even talking about the tuition, which is not even like it's from Mars or
right.
Google. It's just ridiculous.
Right.
But just the convoluted ways, like the various apps and the various platforms, and they have to be merged or synced, and oh my God, it's unbelievable.
It's so different from when I went to college. I mean, it was, you take your SAT and your ACT and you show up and you write a check and you're done. I mean, it was sort of a non-event,
Right.
Right.
It's just, it's mind-boggling, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that'll suck up a lot of your time, but come next year, you've got all these great projects that you're facing, and hopefully the college thing will be resolved, and the first little fledgling will fly off to college and everything will be wonderful, and we can hope for that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for him. He's a homebody, and so I think it's going to be good for him too.
Oh yeah,
I think he's excited too. I tried to far away. I was like, go to Europe,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're going to have a European citizenship. I was also partially interested because university is free there, mostly.
Right.
But he's not interested in Europe. I tried to send him to the West Coast because we have relatives on the West Coast. So
Yes.
someone there, not interested in the West Coast. So the farthest he's got is Tulane. And I
Okay.
Tulane on the list. I did it.
Okay.
I forced him.
Okay. All right. Well, the first year or two, it's great to be close to home.
Mhm.
And then you sort of get your feet wet, and then you can go
Right.
elsewhere. And
Yeah.
that may be, the path he chooses. But
Mhm.
in any
Mhm.
event, it's been wonderful to talk to you and dig a little deeper into the life of Stephane and the life of an artist. And I'm really happy that you were here. So thank you for all of you listening. I will be providing you with Stephane's website and a link to the prior interview, which was a video interview, so that if you missed that one, you can see them both. And Stephane, wonderful to see you. And I can't wait to talk to you again about all of your projects.
It was great to see you too, Pamela, and I can't wait to read you.
I know. Coming soon, coming soon. In the meantime, you can always go to my website, sign up for my email, and you'll get updates on the second book. And you can always purchase there too. So there's links to purchase book 1, and there's some links to some of my other published works that are free. So until next time, thanks so much, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.